The funeral. They didn't bother to show up. For the sun is too bright for a day like this. I'm standing at the edge of the grave, my heels sinking into the soft earth as the small white casket lowers into the ground. White lilies and pink roses surround it, but nothing softens the blow of the cold truth my daughter is gone. 6 months old. Her name was Eden, and she was my world. I tighten the belt on my black trench coat, even though there's no wind. Maybe I just need to feel like I'm holding myself together, even as everything inside me is coming apart. I clutch Michael's hand harder than I should, but he doesn't flinch. He just nods his jaw-clenched eyes, glassy. The only family I have now is him and his parents, standing respectfully to my right. My own parents. They're not here, they're at a pool party, drinking champagne, laughing beside the tiki bar my brother just had installed for his engagement celebration. Less than 3 miles from where I'm burying my baby. I'm Nora Mitchell. I'm 31, a neonatal nurse at St. Joseph's Medical Center in Austin, Texas. I spend my days saving babies, but I couldn't save my own. And today I've finally realized something that deep down I've always known. My parents never gave a damn about me, and the scary thing, that might be the least cruel thing they've ever done. Even as Pastor Evans begins to speak, all I can hear are my mother's words from 2 nights ago. It's just a baby Nora. Eden was only around for a few months. Your brother's engagement party has been planned for weeks. We can't cancel. Can't cancel? I almost laughed when she said that. Almost. But something inside me snapped instead, and I haven't stopped shaking since. Michael leans closer to me and whispers, "You okay?" I nod, but I'm not okay. I am a bomb about to go off. Let me tell you something about being the invisible daughter. I grew up in a house where my brother Brandon could do no wrong. Football trophies, honor roll certificates, girlfriends in cheerleader uniforms. He was the golden boy, and I was just there. I'd get straight A's, and my parents would say, "That's nice, Nora," then immediately ask Brandon about his next game. Even physically, I was always compared to him. He was tall and tan with that quarterback charm. I was curvier, quieter, bookish. One time when I was 16, I walked down the stairs wearing a tight red dress for winter formal. My mother looked me up and down and said, maybe something less obvious. Obvious how I'd asked arms crossing instinctively. She didn't answer, but her eyes lingered a second too long on the way my hips swayed when I turned around. Years later, I still remember the sting. Not just of being judged, but being invisible, and only noticed when they didn't like what they saw. Michael was the first man who looked at me like I was the whole room. He was doing a guest lecture at my university's medical program, and I wasn't even supposed to be in that class. But the second he looked at me, paused in mid-sentence and said, "You, what's your take?" I felt like something shifted in my chest. Later, we hooked up in his car. It wasn't supposed to mean anything, but it did. He kissed me like he'd been waiting to, like I wasn't just smart, I was craved. We got married 4 years later. My parents didn't contribute a dime to the wedding. Not that I asked them to. They were busy helping Brandon pay off his second condo. Still, I invited them, because that's what daughters do. Now, standing at Eden's grave, I think maybe I should have stopped trying a long time ago. The casket stops moving. The straps are still. I feel something die in me all over again. Around me, everyone lowers their heads. There's a sob from Michael's mom. Michael's dad mutters a prayer under his breath. The pastor speaks gently about Eden's spirit and how short, bright lives still matter. But all I can think about is the text I got that morning. From Brandon. "Sorry about the baby. Hope it goes okay. Wish I could make it, but big day, can't wait to party later. My daughter is being buried," and he sends a champagne emoji. Michael sees me pull out my phone, sees the message, sees my hand tremble. He takes the phone and puts it back in my purse. "We'll deal with them later," he says. But I don't want to deal later, I want to deal now. The night before the funeral, I saw the Instagram posts. My mother, in a strapless white sundress that hugged her still fit figure, tan shoulders, cocktail in hand. Her nails painted Eden's favorite shade of lavender. Laughing beside Brandon, who was shirtless, and grinning beside his bikini-clad fiancée. They looked perfect, radiant, and I sat on my bathroom floor, knees pulled to my chest, staring at a bottle of sleeping pills I knew I wouldn't take. I had to stay alive, not for me, for revenge. That's when the idea first formed. It wasn't immediate. It didn't explode in my brain like fire. It whispered, make them feel it. Make them remember what they chose to ignore. The dirt crunches as people start to walk away. A few hug me, some just touch my arm and keep going. I smile, nod, say thank you. But I feel nothing. Later that evening, I sit alone in Eden's nursery. Her stuffed giraffe still smells like baby powder and her lotion. Her crib is empty, but I can't bring myself to strip the sheets. I pick up the last onesie she ever wore, pale pink, still faintly warm from the dryer, folded and placed in the corner just hours before she died in her sleep. I press it to my face and inhale, and I decide. They will never get to pretend this didn't happen. They will never tell their version of the story. I'll tell it for them, and it starts with one question. What kind of parents miss their granddaughter's funeral for shrimp cocktails and champagne by the pool? Second-class daughter from cradle to casket. I don't sleep that night. I lie awake in our bed staring at the ceiling fan, the slow rhythm of its blades slicing through the thick silence. Michael sleeps fitfully beside me, one arm flung protectively across my waist. I trace the veins in his forearm with my fingertips, remembering the way that same arm held me up when I almost collapsed at the cemetery. When I couldn't bring myself to step away from the casket, when I had to be pulled back. I remember thinking, if they don't show up today, they'll never show up for anything that matters. But this wasn't new. It was just the final, irreversible proof. When I was 7, I broke my arm falling off a swing. My dad didn't take me to the ER. He was too busy helping Brandon rehearse for a spelling bee he later lost in the second round. I sat on the couch with an ice pack duct taped to my arm until my mum got home from yoga. When I got my period at 12, I whispered it to my mum, scared and embarrassed. She tossed a box of tampons on my bed and said, "Read the instructions." It's not rocket science. Brandon, meanwhile, got a full-blown family dinner the week he hit puberty. My dad even toasted to the beginning of manhood, so when I told them I was pregnant, I already knew how they'd respond. "We're thrilled for you, sweetheart," they said. Then my mother turned to my brother and asked, "Did you tell Nora about your promotion yet?" The baby shower was at Michael's parents' house. His mum Janice went all-out balloon arches, customized cookies with baby girl Mitchell in pink frosting, even a game where people had to guess baby names. My parents sat in a corner with wine glasses and sunglasses on indoors, asking if the air conditioning was too cold. I caught my father rolling his eyes when someone mentioned cloth diapers. After the cake was cut, my mother pulled me aside. "You've always been a little over-emotional, Nora. Just remember babies cry a lot. Don't go having a breakdown." Breakdown. I laughed nervously and glanced around. Michael was talking with my cousin near the punch bowl. His hands moved animatedly as he explained something with a grin on his face. The same hands that had cupped my belly last night and whispered, "She kicked again. She likes when I talk, doesn't she?" He kissed my neck afterward, and more. I let his hands wander up my thighs. His lips found every soft place I'd grown insecure about. He told me my curves were dangerous. He liked the way I moaned when he whispered what he wanted to do once the baby was born. Even 8 months pregnant, I felt like a goddess in his arms. I wondered what that would feel like to be desired like that by your own parents. Not sexually, obviously, but emotionally. To be wanted, seen, loved. Brandon always got that. Even now as a grown man, he's treated like a prize stallion. My parents helped him with the down payment for his second home. They paid off half his college loans. When I mentioned I was struggling with maternity leave pay, my mother said, "Well, Michael makes enough, doesn't he?" Eden was born on January 3rd during a snowstorm that shut down half the city. Michael cried harder than I did when he held her. His fingers trembled. He kissed her forehead and said, "You're gonna change the world, baby girl." I texted my parents the moment we were settled in recovery. They replied 5 hours later. "Glad it all went well. Jason just booked a vacation to the Bahamas. Isn't that exciting?" They didn't come until the next day. My mother wore heels that clicked on the tile floor like a metronome of indifference. She peered at Eden as if I'd placed a wet cat in her arms. My father stood by the window and talked on the phone with a colleague. They left after 45 minutes. "I have a nail appointment," Mum said. "Congrats again." Michael's parents brought takeout warm socks, fresh flowers, and teared up every time they looked at Eden. His mum kissed my forehead. His dad squeezed my shoulder. They stayed for hours. I should have known right then. But I still hoped. God help me, I still hoped they'd come around. The first time Eden smiled, I sent my parents a photo. My mum texted back a thumbs up emoji. My dad didn't respond. The first time she rolled over, I sent a video. No response. When she started laughing, really laughing, that baby belly giggle that makes the world feel holy, I called them, my mother picked up and said she couldn't talk because her book club was about to start. Then she asked, "Did Brandon tell you he got a bonus?" It became clear what they saw her as a footnote, a biological inconvenience in someone else's life, not a real person, not someone worth rearranging plans for. 2 weeks before Eden died, I invited my parents to her baby dedication at our church. We sent formal invitations, RSVP cards. Michael's mum helped me order the dress Eden would wear, a white lace gown with tiny pearl buttons. The next day, my mother called to say they couldn't come. Jason's engagement party is that weekend. We already booked the venue, but we scheduled this 6 months ago, I said, trying not to cry. "You can always reschedule, right? Babies don't know the difference." My jaw locked. I wanted to scream, "She's not a houseplant, she's your granddaughter." But I didn't. I swallowed it like I always had. Michael found me that night sitting in Eden's nursery holding her dress. My fingers clenched the fabric so hard it left impressions in my skin. He pulled me into his lap and kissed my tears. Then he made love to me, slowly, reverently, like he was trying to worship me out of my sadness. "You're more than enough," he whispered between kisses. "You're everything." And for a few hours I believed it. Now that she's gone, now that her empty crib is the loudest thing in the house, now that I can't smell her skin without falling apart, I realize something that makes my blood run cold. They don't even feel guilty. They didn't come to her funeral. They didn't send flowers. They didn't even fake sympathy for appearances. They just moved on. Champagne and shrimp and Instagram photos. Brandon posted a boomerang of my parents' clinking glasses under string lights. I was tagged. The caption said, "Best day ever." I stared at that caption for hours, unable to look away. I kept thinking, what kind of parents say that on the day their granddaughter is buried, I didn't comment? But I took a screenshot. It's the first item in a folder I've titled Exhibit A, because if they're going to pretend none of this mattered, I'll make sure everyone sees the truth. And that truth starts with the question, how many times can you tell your child they don't matter before they believe it? Champagne over a coffin. I stare at the folder on my laptop titled Evidence. Every screenshot, every message, every tagged post. Each one is like a scalpel slicing open the same wound again and again. But I need that pain. I have to feel it because every time I do, the fire inside me burns a little hotter. There's one photo that makes my hands shake the most. My mother, wearing a blue bikini, one arm around Brandon, the other holding up a champagne flute. Her caption celebrating love, laughter, and family. Family. The same word she used when she texted me days after the funeral to say, "You can't let grief consume you." "Nora, family needs you at the engagement party. My baby hadn't even been gone 2 weeks." I typed a reply. Deleted it, typed another. Deleted that too. Nothing I wrote felt strong enough, but now I know why. Because I wasn't supposed to text them back. I was supposed to ruin them. Michael doesn't ask questions at first. He lets me grieve the way I need to. He's hurting too, maybe even more in some ways. He holds me at night, even when I sob so hard I shake the bed. He folds Eden's clothes with trembling hands. He whispers to her stuffed rabbit like she might still hear him. But one night when I'm up late on the couch surrounded by printed photos and open notebooks he walks in. "What are you doing, babe?" I look up at him, eyes puffy and raw. They celebrated while we buried her. He kneels in front of me, cups my face. I know, I was there. I saw it too. I shake my head. No, I mean they celebrated. With music, with drinks, with bikini photos, while I was throwing dirt on a casket the size of a doll box. Michael looks away. His jaw clenches. They didn't just ignore her. They erased her. 2 days later, I visit a lawyer. Not for a lawsuit, I know there's no legal battle to fight. This isn't about justice, it's about truth. I ask about family defamation, about privacy laws, about who I'm allowed to name in a memoir. The lawyer, a sharp woman named Dana, narrows her eyes and asks, "Are you planning to publish something I don't know yet? Well, if you do, you'd better have the receipts." "Oh, Dana, I have the receipts." I leave her office with a checklist in my phone and a fresh sense of purpose. I'm not just grieving anymore, I'm building a case. A week passes, then 2. My parents don't call. Neither does Brandon. Michael's parents come by every other day. They bring groceries. They help fold laundry. One night, Michael's mum sits beside me in Eden's room and rubs my back while I cry into the crib mattress. "You're not alone," she whispers. But I feel alone. Not because I am, but because the people who should have cared the most made it so clear they didn't. And that loneliness becomes my fuel. I log into my fake Instagram account one I created years ago to keep tabs on an ex. Now it serves a new purpose watching my family from the shadows. They've posted more pool photos, more wedding planning snapshots. My mother tagged a boutique where she tried on gowns for the mother of the groom. Brandon posted a reel of him and Stephanie taste testing cake. The caption "Best chapter of my life is about to begin." My stomach turns. They're living in some alternate reality where Eden never existed. I click into the comments. One says, "So sorry your sister couldn't make the party." "Is she doing okay?" Brandon replied. "She's been struggling. It's been hard on her. We're giving her space. They are giving me space." I almost smashed the laptop right there. But then another comment appears, one that makes me sit up. "Thought your parents missed the funeral because of health issues." Wait, what I click through the user's profile. It's my cousin Lucy. She was at Eden's funeral. She brought white tulips and cried as she hugged me. I remember because she whispered, "Where are your mum and dad?" and I couldn't speak. I just shook my head. Now I see the truth unraveling in real time. They lied. They told the extended family that my father had back surgery, that my mother was caring for him, that they were too ill to attend. But the photos were public, their drinks, their tan lines, the music, the goddamn poolside DJ. I screenshot everything, and I smile for the first time in weeks. Michael walks in while I'm printing the images. He doesn't say anything at first, he just watches me. "You're really going through with this," he says finally. I nod. Someone has to. He exhales. "I'm with you. You know that." I turn to him. "Are you—" "Yes," he says, "but I need to ask, when does this end?" I pause. That's the thing I don't know. Not until they admit what they did. Not until they say Eden's name and mean it. Not until they look me in the eyes and see me for the first time in their lives. Soon I lie. That night I dream of my mother laughing at the pool, but this time the camera pans back and I see Eden's casket floating in the water behind her. I wake up screaming. Michael holds me shirtless, muscles tense beneath his warm skin. He whispers against my neck. His hand slides under my shirt palm, flat against my stomach, grounding me. "I'm here," he murmurs. "You're okay." He kisses my temple, then lower beneath my ear, down my jaw. I let him. I need to remember I'm alive. I need to feel his weight, his breath. I press my hips to his aching, not to replace Eden, not to feel good, but because I want to reclaim something, my body, my pain, my power. He moves slow, careful lips, mapping every inch of me like he's trying to relearn my terrain. When he enters me, I cry, not from pleasure, not from pain, just release. After we lie in silence, and I whisper they're going to regret this. Michael says nothing, but I feel his fingers tighten slightly on my hip. The next morning, I write a message to my cousin Lucy. It says, "You asked about the funeral. I think you deserve to know the truth. What happens next will change everything, but I'm ready. Because if they think they can bury my daughter and the truth, they're about to learn what I bury is nothing compared to what I'm willing to unearth." What they didn't expect was me. The message to Lucy opens the floodgates. Within hours, I receive a reply, short, but filled with emotion. "Nora, I had no idea. I thought they were sick. I'm so sorry." What can I do? I stare at the message for a long time. Then I type back, "Tell the truth." That's all I need. She does more than that. She starts forwarding me screenshots from the family group chat. My parents claimed they were heartbroken to miss the funeral because of my father's back pain. They even said they were watching it via live stream. There was no live stream. They were at a pool party. I send Lucy the photo of my mother, drink in hand, at the exact hour Eden was being lowered into the ground. She replies with one word, "Jesus." Within a day, I start getting messages from other relatives. My Aunt Megan, my cousin Tyler, even Brandon's godmother Linda, who I haven't spoken to in 10 years. They all say the same thing: "We didn't know. We believed them. We're so sorry." It should make me feel better. It doesn't, because none of their sympathy can bring Eden back. None of their regret erases the silence I felt that day, the absence, the hollow space on either side of me at the funeral where my mother and father should have stood. So I do what I've been planning for weeks. I ask them to meet, just the three of us. I send the message on a Thursday. "I'd like to talk." Sunday at 2 p.m. "Your house." My mother responds within minutes. "Of course, so glad you're ready to reconnect. I'll make lemon cake, your favorite." The nerve, the arrogance. She really thinks this is going to be a casual coffee and closure moment. Michael watches me hit send, arms crossed, his jaw tight. "You don't owe them anything," he says. I know. He looks at me. "You sure about this?" "No. But I have to say it. For Eden. For me." He pulls me into a hug. His lips brush the top of my head. "Then I'm with you. Whatever happens." Sunday comes too fast. I wear a blue blouse the color of Eden's eyes, the necklace with her birthstone. In my purse, a printed timeline of their neglect, the screenshots, and a framed photo of my daughter, smiling, wide gums, exposed in her tiny pink dress. Michael offers to drive me. I tell him I need to go alone. As I walk up their stone path, my stomach churns. The roses in their front yard are in full bloom. Everything looks perfect. It always did. My mother opens the door wearing a floral dress and pearl earrings like she's hosting a brunch. The scent of lemon cake wafts from the kitchen. "Nora," she beams. "You look lovely." She leans in to kiss my cheek. I move slightly, let her kiss the air. My father nods from the living room newspaper folded neatly beside him. "Come in. Sit down," my mother chirps. "We're so happy you're here." I don't sit. Instead, I pull the photo of Eden from my purse and place it on the coffee table between us. Their smiles fade slowly. "This is your granddaughter," I say. My mother blinks. My father glances at the frame, then back to me. "We know that," he says stiffly. "Do you?" I take a breath. My pulse is hammering. "You didn't come to her funeral. You didn't send flowers. You didn't say her name after she died. But you threw a party, you toasted champagne, you posted photos. My mother's face pinches. Nora! I hold up my hand. I'm not done. I pull out the printed timeline and spread it on the table. This isn't just about the funeral, this is about a lifetime of this. The forgotten birthdays, the half-assed congratulations, the down payments you gave Brandon, the silence every time I needed you. I point to the photo again. This was the moment I realized I was never going to matter to you the way he does. But Eden, she deserved better, and you failed her. My father shifts in his chair. We didn't know it would be such a big deal. We thought you could lie to the family and get away with it. You told them you were sick, but you weren't. You were at a pool party. I pull out my phone, scroll, show them the photos. My mother drink in hand, my father laughing beside Brandon, the timestamp, the caption. My mother's hand flies to her mouth. I didn't think people would notice, but I did. I noticed, and now everyone else does too. My father speaks up, voice hardening. So what do you want from us? Guilt a public apology. No, I say, I want acknowledgement. I want you to look at that photo and tell me that your granddaughter's death should have mattered more than a party. Silence. My mother stares at Eden's photo. Her lip trembles. For the first time, her voice shakes. She had your eyes. My throat tightens. I never really looked at her, she whispers. I was so busy planning Brandon's engagement. My father scoffs. Margaret, no, she snaps. Let her talk. I turn to him. This isn't about Brandon. It never was. It's about the fact that you've treated me like a backup character in my own life since I was born. But now you don't get to write the narrative. I do. I pick up my purse. This is your chance. Say something real. Or I walk. My mother blinks back tears. I should have been there. I will regret it for the rest of my life. My father swallows. Hard. I was wrong, he says finally. We both were. Not just about the funeral, about everything. I say nothing. I let it hang there. Finally I whisper, we're done here, for now. As I reach the door, my mother calls after me, Nora, please, don't go like this. I turn back. I'm not the one who left. I walk out heels, clacking on the tile like thunder. For the first time in my life, they are the ones left standing in silence. A confrontation they'll never forget. I don't cry in the car. Not this time. I drive home with the windows down, letting the wind slap the tension off my face. My hands are steady on the wheel. My breath, for the first time in weeks, is full. I did it. I said what needed to be said. But I know the war isn't over. It's only just begun. Michael is waiting on the porch, barefoot, arms crossed in that quiet way of his. As soon as he sees my face, he knows. You did it, he says. I nod. They listened. A little, not enough. He steps forward and wraps his arms around me. Then we make them listen louder. I want to believe that's true, but some people don't hear unless the entire room is watching. So that's what I'll give them, a room full of mirrors. The next morning, my phone explodes. Lucy has started asking questions in the family group chat. She shares the screenshot of the Instagram post, the one with my mother sipping champagne at the exact time Eden was being buried. One cousin replies with WTF, another with that can't be real. My Aunt Judith messages me privately. Nora, I'm heartbroken. I defended them. I told people they were grieving in private. I had no idea they lied. I thank her. And then I ask her to spread the word. I'm not trying to shame them, I say. I just want people to know the truth, Judith replies. If they're ashamed, it's because they should be. A few nights later, my phone buzzes. It's Brandon. Of course it is. He leaves a voicemail, his voice sharp and defensive. Really classy, Nora. Dragging the family into your grief spiral. You know they're fragile. Mum's been crying for days, and Dad's furious. I don't know what you think you're accomplishing, but this drama isn't helping anyone. I replay the message twice, then I save it. He thinks this is about drama, no Brandon. This is about accountability. You had one niece, you held her once, and on the day she was buried, you posted a photo of your pool float shaped like a flamingo. You want to talk about class? Let's talk. I gather the messages, screenshots, the voicemail. I start writing. At first, it's just for me, a therapeutic essay. But then I realize it's more than that. It's a record. I write about the favoritism, about the childhood piano recital my mum missed to take Brandon to a science fair he didn't win, about how they always told me girls don't need as much attention, about the college fund they split unfairly with Brandon getting double because he'll have a family to support. I write about how they forgot my birthday 3 years in a row, but threw a surprise party for Brandon's dog. I write about Eden, her smile, her laugh, her tiny fingers wrapping around mine at 3 a.m. I write about finding her cold and still, about the silence in the monitor, about the way my mother said, "You can always have another baby." The more I write, the angrier I get, and the clearer everything becomes. They didn't fail to show up once, they failed my whole damn life. The post goes live on a grief and parenting forum under the title "My Parents Skipped My Baby's Funeral for My Brother's Pool Party." Within 12 hours, it has 10,000 views. Within 24, it's viral. People share their own stories. They send support. They say things like, "This is the most heartbreaking thing I've ever read. You're not crazy. You're just finally done being silent." One comment stops me cold. "This happened to me too. But I didn't have the words. Thank you for giving them to me." I read that one 3 times, and then I cry. Not out of grief, but release. Michael finds me at the kitchen table, still in my robe, laptop open, tears streaming. He kneels beside me, kisses my wrist. "Is it too much?" "No." I whisper. "It's finally enough." He nods. "Then let's make them feel it." 2 days later, my parents call. I don't answer. They try Michael. He doesn't either. Then an email. Subject line, "Please talk to us." I click it. It's from my father, Nora. "We're sorry, truly. We didn't realize how deep it went. Your mother hasn't stopped crying since your visit. I know we can't undo what we did, but we want to try to make it right. We're ashamed. You were right to say what you did. We deserved it. Please let us speak with you. Not to argue, just to listen. Love, Dad." I stare at the message. For the first time in my life, my father admitted he was wrong. I don't know what to do with that. The next Sunday, they show up at our door. I didn't invite them. But they stand there, my father in a wrinkled polo shirt, my mother in no makeup for the first time I can remember. Michael stands behind me like a wall of steel. My mum holds something in her hand, a pink box. Inside a custom-made ornament, glass, hand-painted. It says, "Eden Grace Mitchell, 2023, forever loved." I hold it like it might break at any second. Then she says something I never thought I'd hear. I was wrong, not just about Eden, about everything. You were always the better child, and I made you feel like a ghost. She's crying now. Her voice cracks. I can't ask you to forgive me, but I had to say it. I look at my dad. His eyes are wet. His voice is lower than I've ever heard it. She deserved grandparents who showed up. We failed her, and we failed you. They wait for me to slam the door, to scream, to walk away. Instead, I ask, "What made you change?" He pulls something from his pocket. It's my post, printed, annotated, highlighted. I read it 6 times, he says. My mother touches her heart. "I didn't even know you wrote. You sound strong." I am strong, stronger than I ever was with them. We don't hug, not yet. But I let them sit on the porch. We talk about Eden, about childhood, about things I never thought they'd acknowledge. Michael brings out tea. It's quiet, awkward, fragile, but real. And maybe just maybe the beginning of something I never thought I'd see. Later that night, Michael holds me as we sit in Eden's nursery. He strokes my hair and whispers, "You broke the cycle." I nod, for her. He kisses my shoulder, "And for you." But I'm not done. Because if there's one thing I know now, it's this. Telling the truth isn't revenge, it's justice with a heartbeat. The lies begin to unravel. By Monday morning, the story has legs. The parenting forum post has been picked up by a medium-sized blog. Then a grief counseling podcast mentions it in their latest episode. By midweek, someone uploads a dramatic reading of the piece on YouTube. I watch it late at night, under a blanket headphones, in heart thudding, as someone else's voice recites my pain to the world. Michael watches me from the kitchen arms, folded a proud, quiet smile on his lips. I guess the world knows now, he says. Not the world, I reply, eyes still locked on the screen. Just the ones who needed to hear it, but I'm wrong. It is the world now. My inbox floods. Women, men, parents, daughters like me, people with names I've never heard but lives I understand too well. They did the same to me. You gave me courage. Now I know I'm not alone. One woman writes, "My mother skipped my son's funeral to go on a cruise. I haven't spoken to her since. But your story gave me the words I couldn't find." Another, "I never knew how much I needed to see someone else stand up and say, enough." But the messages that surprise me most come from my family, cousins, aunts, a few uncles I thought were too far removed to care. My cousin Eli, a lawyer in Portland, sends me a DM. "I always knew they treated you differently. I just didn't know how bad it was." My Aunt Nancy. When I heard they were sick for the funeral, I believed it. I feel like such an idiot. I'm so sorry. I tell them the truth. It wasn't their fault. It was the lie. My parents' lie. The same kind of lie they'd spun my whole life. It wasn't a big deal. You're overreacting. Your brother needed us more. But now for the first time those lies are crumbling. And they're not crumbling privately. They're falling apart in full view of everyone they used to manipulate. Brandon sends me another message. This time it's different. "I need to come by," it says. "I need to say something face to face." Michael reads it over my shoulder. "Want me to tell him to screw off?" he asks. "No," I say. I want to hear what he says when he doesn't have an audience. It's raining when Brandon arrives. He doesn't bring flowers, or food, or a fake apology. He brings a rose bush, tiny pink buds, still closed. I thought, maybe for Eden's garden he says eyes low. We walk together to the garden in the back. Michael keeps a distant watch from the kitchen window, arms crossed. As Brandon digs the hole beside the angel statue, he finally speaks. "I didn't get it," he says. "Not then, not even after she died." He pauses, wiping rain from his forehead. "I thought you were being dramatic, that you were always kind of intense." He shrugs. But reading that post, hearing what other people were saying, I realized it's because we let you be alone. My whole life I let them treat you like a backup plan. He looks at me now, eyes red. Not with tears, with shame. "I should have been at her funeral. I should have shown up for you." I don't say anything, because it's not my job to comfort him. But when he finishes planting the rosebush, I place a hand on his shoulder. "That's the first thing you've done right," I say, "and for now it's enough." At dinner that night, Michael pulls my chair out for me like he always does. He sets my wine glass down, waits. "Do you feel lighter?" he asks. I pause. "No, I feel clearer." And that's better, because light fades, clarity stays. Weeks pass. The momentum slows, but the shift doesn't fade. The family group chat has gone silent. My mother sends a few soft texts, recipes, updates, questions she never asked before. "How are you doing today?" Thinking of Eden, she would have loved the spring flowers. I don't respond to all of them, but I respond to some. We begin to meet once a month. Boundaries in place, no comparisons, no Brandon updates, no rewriting of the past. And when I bring up Eden, they listen, even if it makes them uncomfortable, especially then. One Sunday, my father does something I never expected. He hands me a letter. It's not long, just a few paragraphs, typed, not handwritten. But the message is clear. You were never the lesser child. We just never saw you fully. That's on us. And we're trying now not because we want forgiveness, but because you deserve better. There's a check folded inside. It's made out to the children's hospital where I used to work, in the Memo Eden Grace Memorial Fund. I stare at it for a long time. Michael reads it over my shoulder and whispers she'd be proud of you. I whisper back, I'm proud of me too. Later that evening, in the quiet of our home, we sit in Eden's room. We've turned it into a memorial space now, not a shrine, just a soft room with photos, her favourite toys, and a rocking chair that no longer creaks from midnight feedings, but from quiet reflection. Michael sits behind me, arms around my waist, lips brushing the back of my neck. Think we'll ever have another? He asks softly. My breath catches. I don't know, I say. I'm scared. He nods. Me too. We sit in the silence. Then I say it aloud, for both of us. But I think Eden would want us to try, and I think she would, not to replace her, but to let the love she gave us grow into something new. Outside, the garden sways in the breeze. The pink rosebush glows with early blossoms. They're small, but they're blooming. The garden where vengeance blooms. Spring turns to summer. The garden in our backyard, once a patch of dying grass and grief, is now full of colour. Daffodils, tulips, a white-flowered vine I can never remember the name of. And in the centre, right beneath the angel statue, blooms the rosebush Brandon planted. It took weeks, but the petals finally opened. Soft pink, fragile yet proud, like Eden, like me. On the 1-year anniversary of her death, we hold a small ceremony. Nothing grand, just people who showed up. Michael's parents are there, of course. They bring fresh lilies and a photo album they made of Eden's short life. It makes me cry, but in a good way. Brandon and Stephanie arrive next, quieter than usual. He's not wearing a designer button-down this time, just a simple grey shirt and jeans. He helps Michael string lights between 2 trees. Stephanie helps me set out chairs. They don't say much, but they don't need to. Their presence says enough. My parents come last. They bring a bouquet of white peonies. My mother's eyes are red before she even steps out of the car. My father holds a small box. Inside a necklace, gold, delicate, a tiny E-pendant with Eden's birthstone at its centre. We thought you could wear her close to your heart, my mother says. I take it with shaking fingers. For a moment, I can't speak. Then I whisper, thank you, not because the pain is gone, but because for once their gesture isn't about them. It's about her. We sit in the circle as dusk falls. Michael lights a few candles. The soft orange glow reflects in everyone's eyes. I say a few words about Eden, about the joy she brought, about the silence that followed, and about the noise I made afterward. The necessary noise, because grief doesn't demand silence, it demands truth. I lost a daughter, I say, voice calm but strong. But I found my voice. Michael takes my hand. My mother dabs her eyes. No one interrupts, no one minimizes. For once, everyone listens. Later, after the ceremony ends and the guests filter out, Michael and I stay outside. We lie on a blanket in the garden, the stars blinking to life above us. He strokes my arm with soft fingers, his touch gentle, reverent. Do you think she knows, he whispers, that she changed everything? I nod. She changed me, I say. She made me stop begging for love that never came. She made me demand respect. He turns to me, and she got it. I laugh softly. Eventually. Then I turn on my side face close to his. She also made me realize something else. What, that I still want more. He raises an eyebrow. More life, more color, more love. Not to replace her, but because I'm still alive. He exhales slowly. Are you saying... I press my lips to his. I'm ready to try again. His eyes water. He leans in, kisses me with everything he's been holding in. The passion builds quickly, urgently, hands sliding under clothes, mouths seeking warmth. The desperation of mourning turned to something softer, deeper rebirth. In that garden beneath the stars and surrounded by Eden's flowers, we make love like people who've survived the end of the world. Because we have. And we're still here. Weeks pass, The silence in our home changes. It's not heavy anymore, it's full of possibility. We volunteer more. I help mothers who've lost children. Michael designs a wing for the children's hospital expansion, a playroom dedicated in Eden's name. We're building forward now, not forgetting, but not frozen either. And then one morning I throw up in the sink. I don't think anything of it until I do it again the next day. And the day after. Michael buys the test. I can't look at it. He does. And when he walks into the room holding it in his hand, I already know. He's crying before he can speak. So, she's going to be a big sister, I nod. My voice breaks. I think she already is. The first person we tell is Michael's mum. The second is my therapist, my parents. They're third. They don't cry. They don't make it about them. They simply listen. And my mother says I'll do it right this time. At our 20-week appointment, the tech smiles and says, "Would you like to know the gender?" I look at Michael. He nods. Yes, I say. It's a girl. And just like that, I start crying. Harder than I have in months. But not from grief, from hope, from the wild, terrifying joy of beginning again. The day we paint the nursery, Michael puts on music, rolls up his sleeves, and dances with the roller in hand. I sit cross-legged on the floor laughing as he twirls like an idiot. The walls are pale green this time, a new start, a fresh chapter, not a replacement, a continuation. I hang Eden's ornament in the window where the light hits it just right every morning. It casts tiny rainbows all across the crib, and I whisper to the air, "You were the beginning of everything. And I will always, always fight for your memory." The night before our second daughter is born, I lie awake. Michael is beside me, snoring gently. I place my hand over my belly, feel the kicks, the life, and I say aloud, "This time she'll know she's wanted," because Eden's story taught me what not to accept, what not to forgive, what not to forget, and most importantly, what to protect, my voice, my boundaries, my daughters. For anyone watching this who's lost someone who's been betrayed by the people who were supposed to protect you, I want you to remember this. You don't owe silence to the people who hurt you. You owe truth to the ones you love. And sometimes the loudest act of love is finally standing up and saying, "This ends with me."